One of the most powerful features we have as human is our higher self. And this higher self often come into interceding with us or mediating with us from us or to other dimensions. This very powerful individual here comes in without invitation. Most often times when there is a point where things is about to get bad or things is about to get good, it doesn't actually leave us alone. But however, some people's might be feeling different, and this is one of the most powerful yet so quiet, noiseless, and communicate with us in such a way that we can't even hear it through our ears but through our subconscious mind. And most people often try to ignore it. While you're reading the Bible, is there is never any time when you are doing anything that is not there. It's all for you to chat with it and realign your heart with it, and it's even help you to explain things more because it is like 100,000 times far ahead or steps ahead of us. So the more we pay attention to this very higher self of ours, this our spirit, the more things is gonna go better, the more smoother we're gonna get in life. And in today's edition here, I'm gonna be treating with you 8 signs that you don't want to ignore when you started having that very conversation or that very signs wherever you are, whether you decide to go to the beach, you decide to go to fish, or whatsoever thing which you decide to do. It always comes, and there is some sort of intrigue feelings that is attached with some of the way it comes in to send in a message or drop in a message with us, whether you're just taking some time out to a beautiful exotic location looking at the beautiful creatures of the earth. It doesn't leave you astray. Even when you are lonely, it's still there with you to ponder through things. When you are in a very healthy condition or even a very unhealthy condition, is still there with you. So it is more like our superhuman or super guide to anything which you want to do, because in our loneliest time when we felt that everything is gone, is always there. It's always trying to move us, to move our spirits, to increase our vibration so we can be able to bounce back to life. So this is something that every one of us have as an intuitive thoughts, intuitive power. So this intuitive power is always there to help us guide us through life. Many people share stories of how listening to certain gut feelings spare them and save them from incredible dangerous situation and not so fun situation at all. Sometimes the message can be extremely subtle and tricky to discern, then can range from a tiny gut feeling to innate knowing that something just doesn't feel right or good. Intuition is like a muscle. The more you work at developing it, the stronger it will become. It is like a habit. The more you put it on, the more people get to know you with it, the more you get to know how to manipulate it. This is incredible power in our spiritual tools box to use or work with. So here in this episode, I'm going to be teaching you 8 powerful signs you don't want to ignore when you see it. First, when you have that thought that doesn't make sense. Have you ever had a thought about something that didn't make any sense, and then a deep or dark secret was exposed and your intuition was verified? Sometimes when we follow these hunches about people, we fall into the trap of jogging unfair. However, there is a really delicate balance to strike where if you have a certain thought about something, then there must be a vibrational match to their energy somehow. The key is not to allow fear to govern your instinct. For instance, you can't constantly be checking your partner's phone to see if they are cheating, or because you are more likely you'll be creating that experience from your lack of trust. But when you have a random thought or a hunch about someone or something, just allow it to be and don't reflect over it and don't interfere. Send the thoughts of love and allow them to plant in your subconscious mind and start to manifest instead of being suspicious or being policing or being gaslighting over everything. 2, when you ignore all ongoing health issues and pretend they'll go away. You might have a pesky cough that doesn't seem to go away, or a mole that keeps changing color, a weird lump that you're trying to ignore, whatever it is, you really can't afford to ignore the health symptoms that are being presented to you. So, in that regard, you have to be very conscious and you have to take actions. You have to um, try to find a remedy solution to whatsoever health issues which you might have. Meanwhile, you're having some other precautions, because sometimes it might be a negative way for positive message. 3, when you feel like something isn't just right. I don't know if you've ever had that kind of thing before, but a lot of us do have. And I have been having some kind of things like that recently when I was about to do a job for a customer. And I had a gut feeling telling me this guy is from a political class and he will not pay after everything, even when I get it correct. I did have this and I affirm it's true. However, I didn't let that to deter me. Instead, I worked and I get the problem solved. And at last, guess what? He refused to pay. It's been like 5 months now. And I'm kind of being a little bit subtle about how to go about it. But this is just one of the situations, one of the example of how our higher self hints us about something. And at the end, in the end, it comes right after that. There are so many of them. It comes in a very magical way. So you guys just have to, in your gut, when something doesn't just feel right. I remember after I was suffering some sort of a terrible situation where things are falling apart in my life, I did have this gut feeling telling me something is just about to happen, and it does happen. But sometimes when it comes, it's inevitable. We have some sort of inevitability situation that we don't know how to get out of it. We just get in there, and when we get in there, it's very hard sometimes to get out of. But notwithstanding that fact, we do often also do get accompanied with this same higher self talking to us and giving us some sort of a motivation and inspiration that is gonna get better. That there is, giving us a relief inside, a hope, of something that's about to happen. That's why I said at the context of this very video here that there are 10 or 100,000 steps ahead of us. So they see what happens in the spiritual realm and try to convey the message to us through gut feeling. So, or through putting up some sort of message to us, and we can be able to feel it that something isn't just right. And if we proceed, most of the times we end up being in a very grave danger. 4, when a little voice whispers a message to you. Sometimes when we hear a little voice that gives us message and snippet of wisdom that will help us in our life in some ways. To be clear, these are not the same type of voice that so-called crazy people might be listening to. I'm talking about an intuitive connection to your higher self that is often helping you in times of need. Like I said at the context of this very video, that is very silent and it's soundless. You can't hear it with your ears. You can only hear it with your subconscious mind. You can feel it with your subconscious mind. This could be the voice of your own spirit or the guardian angel that helps you through many things. So if you started hearing any message about this very internal being or our higher self, do not ignore it. If it is about joy, accept it. If it is about danger, be cautious, because it can likely happen. Sometimes you might be inside a taxi or inside a bus going to somewhere, or in a train station going somewhere, and if you start having a gut feeling, or a message that maybe some sort of old memories within why you're going in a different direction, or an old memories, a serious old memories that is not connected to what you're thinking immediately. If it is related to the location where you're going, then it means you need to hurry. And if it is something that is completely different from the location where you're going, then it means if you, after going to this location there, it means your own subconscious mind, your own higher self is trying to tell you that, give you a brief, detailed message concerning those people whom you left at home. And it could mean that there is a potential danger. All right? And you shouldn't ignore such kind of message. It comes more like reminding you of and old memories. I don't know if most of you have actually got this kind of thing before. 5. You see sign of alignment and choose to ignore it. When you see on a spiritual journey that you're living your life by cultivating conscious awareness, signs of alignment from the universe are frequently presented to you. These signs can be message from your higher self that you are on the right path. And if you started seeing those alignment sign, then that's a good sign. You validate it and move on. And the best way to do this is for you to hold on to that very intention dear to your heart, and you go up acting on it, right? However, if you ignore it, there's going to be a problem, because alignment is actually the key to manifesting anything. So do not move out of that very state if suppose you're receiving some sort of sign of alignment, because that's a sign of a validation that you're on the right track, and possibly that is the time, if you are not very careful, that things can actually come to snatch you off that very alignment. Because before we start to manifest anything, the process of alignment must be perfectly done. It's more like before you start listening to any radio program, you must tune in correctly to the signal or to the frequency of which the program is being broadcasted upon. And if you can be able to tune in correctly, you're going to be getting interference and noisy, and you've been participating or hearing exactly what is going on. But if you have tuned in correctly, that is exactly how the alignment is. You start getting the message clearly. So when you align yourself clearly or perfectly with anything which you want to do at any given time of life, achieving such goals and desires becomes very simply. 6. When you have a recurring dreams or experience of recurring synchronicities, do you have the same theta or wave dreams over and over, or do you see some person showing you a different location over your city? When you energetic signature patterns of life are in our awareness, there is a usual reason behind it. It is a message, perhaps an instructions, and sometimes a warning. Your job is to follow the clues and see if you can make sense out of the reason and information being presented to you on a regular basis. And some other times, if you have some sort of a recurring synchronicities, it could mean that you need to double check. It's kind of double check, because there could be a potential problem that might arise on that star. If suppose it's a job that it is about, or some sort of, I have had this kind of things before, when just trying to walk out of my workplace and I'm saying that I'm having that feelings, and most of the times it turns out that my mind is carried away and my office apartment is not locked, either by the person who I left it to or by my own self. And sometimes it can be my car. So there are different situations for different very synchronicities. So you just need to figure out exactly when it happens to you, and it is very, very spontaneous. It is very, very sharp to tell you to point your mind towards the right direction. Then you just double check. It doesn't going to take too much time, except if you have been if you've taken quite a long distance away from that very. And sometimes it can also mean that someone is attempting to have unauthorized access. It can mean a different thing for different situations. So just be guided, right? Then 7, when your needs are not being met in a relationship, when you don't use your voice in a relationship, and the universe will pick up a pace of your spiritual lessons and speak to you. If you know your heart that your relationship isn't working, and you stay without making attempts to shine a light on the situation, when you are dishonoring yourself on a very deep level, you are worthy of your need being met. You are worthy to be loved and treated in a way that makes you feel amazing. If you are currently feeling this way, then it's a sign that there is a transformation that needs to take place. Whether you stay or you leave, a decision needs to be made. Sometimes, even while you're having this sort of intrusive thoughts, yes, you need to understand that sometimes you need to confront the other person to understand the status of his own heart. Is he or she still interested in this very relationship? What and you need to ask question, right? But don't expect too much. There are some people who are in a relationship and they want to be treated like an angel and treat the other guy like the devil. So do unto others what you want them to do unto you. That is my take on that very decision right there. So if you know within yourself, we can lie sometimes to everybody, but we can lie to ourselves. And some people can often think that they deserve the best thing in this life and the other person doesn't deserve. So if it is in that case, it is not applicable, right? That message is not about the other person, it's about you changing your own life to suit the other person, right? Because most oftentimes 9 out of 10 people are very quick to point hand at the next person without looking at their own self. So you should go through some sort of inner introspection and find out, are you the one who is wrecking this relationship? Are you the one that is making this relationship not working? Are you the one that is draining the energy in this very relationship? If the answer is yes, then stop pretending, stop pointing hard at the other person, and do the right thing. But if you don't no more fancy the relationship, if you've gotten another person or you have been cheating a lot and you are suspicious of the other person, then start getting this intrusive thought, then you are the one who is the problem. 8. A sudden intrusion of intrusive thought about danger ahead. This is one of the most powerful intrusive thought I've ever received while making a journey, when I don't even have any, especially if you start having this kind of feelings when you're not having any conversation concerning that, because most conversations sometimes can be triggered by intrusive thought, especially if the both of you are having a different mindset, but a certain topic arises in two hearts simultaneously. That is an epic depiction of a danger ahead that can claim a lot of lives. So if you have other options, my suggestion and advice is you step out of the vehicle or whichever train, or but it can be very terrible. I mean, it can be very disturbing if suppose it's in a flight that you are and you start receiving this kind of intrusive thought, or inside a bullet train that is going through on a ground tunnel and you start getting this kind of message. It can be very disturbing. But if it is suppose you are just within an airport about to board a flight and you start getting that intrusive thought, or in a car about to go in a very long trip and you start experiencing that, I want you to pause for a moment, give it like if not, just reschedule it, right? A lot of people whom you have had appointment with might feel that it's not good, but if you have not been someone who is good at canceling appointments, who have not been notably known for canceling appointment when you fix it, then there's not going to be any arise of concerns or too much questioning. But if you have been this kind of person, then everyone is going to say, oh, that's how she does it. But if it happens for the first time or second times and people have known you that you are some kind of a person who is a person of your word, your word is your rap, they are not going to crucify you over canceling that appointment or that meeting, because you're going further to go ahead and embark on that journey might claim your own life. In particular, that is why that very intrusive thought came to you personally. You might be the only surviving, the last soul that want to be saved from that very journey, from that very catastrophic destruction that might occur on the way. You might be the only one who is worthy and the rest are not worthy, so they're not receiving it, and you stand a chance. And in some other case, you might be the person who is the target, while the rest might not lose their own life. So if you are the gold within the stones, or sorry, diamond within the stones inside you will receive this powerful intrusive thought and it will start replaying itself. So do not ignore it. So I hope you find this very helpful. I'll see you on the next episode. Do share this with others. Bye for now.